guys, I'm Ahana and welcome back to my channel. Now, this monthly update video is going to be a little different from my other monthly updates because we are celebrating Clear's 1-year anniversary. We have learned and achieved more than we could ever imagine in the last year. So before I jump into what we've been doing recently, I want to give you a recap of the sequence of events over the last 12 months. So without further ado, let's dive right in. December 2020. We got into YC on the 18th of December. At this point, Ben and I paused our physics degrees at Imperial College London so that we could give all of our energy to our startup. Over Christmas, I got through all of the admin work, the incorporation, setting up bank accounts, and we came up for a name for this idea. At the time, it was Haut, meaning skin in German. January 2021, YC started. We hired a contractor to speed up development, and I also did 100 hours of customer discovery calls to really nail down what exactly we had to build. I also put together a small team of marketing interns based in Hong Kong. February 2021. Turned these initial customer discovery interviews into an actual beta community operating out of a Facebook group. In this group, they were really just emulating the behaviors that we eventually wanted on the app that we were building, but we wanted to be sure that we were testing the right assumptions, and this was the best way of doing it. Putting together a community of people from the Facebook groups and the Reddit threads that I'd engaged with for years and years and years. At this point, one of my friends from high school, Monica, actually reached out to me cold. We hadn't spoken in about 5 years, but she said that she was looking for more UX projects to build out her own portfolio, and she's really into skincare and wanted to get involved in what we were building. So at that point, we started working with Monica, but it was still pretty informal. I built up 30 brand partnerships so that we could start building up product inventory to get skincare products on the app itself. The intern team did a photo shoot in Hong Kong and they started to set up our Instagram profile. It was also at this point that I formally withdrew from the physics degree at Imperial and turned down my grad jobs. March 2021. Now, this was the month of demo day, but our app was just not up to scratch and the relationship with the contractor was not working. Although we had this active beta community, we had no real app and hence no real traction, so it wasn't the best time for us to fundraise and actually go ahead with demo day. I was actually talking to a YC batchmate about this dilemma at that time, and she suggested that myself and Ben just try to build the app ourselves. Now at this stage, even though both myself and Ben had physics degrees, or almost completed physics degrees, and had technical backgrounds and experience, we hadn't launched a mobile app specifically before. And that's the reason we didn't initially try to do it ourselves. But I think it was hearing it from somebody else that really gave us that confidence to just go for it. And that's exactly what we did. We deferred a YC batch, so we went from the winter 21 batch to the summer 21 batch. This would give Ben and I enough time to actually code up the app and start to get users and real traction. We made a comprehensive product roadmap and set the date to beta launch in May and public launch in June. We scrapped out all the poor quality code that this contractor had written and started building again from the ground up. April 2021. Literally coded all day, every day. May 2021. We soft launched the app within the beta community and started doing rigorous beta testing so that we could iterate quickly and launch the app in June when we wanted to, and it was good enough for the public to see. It was also at this point that our YC partner had mentioned to us that there were a couple of really interesting verticalized neobanks in the same YC batch, and maybe it was something that could work for us. That was really what got us thinking about maybe adding this fintech element onto what we were building at Clear, or as it was then still called, Haut. June 2021. Now this is when the rebrand happened. We rebranded from Haut to Clear. This actually happened the day we submitted the final app to the App Store. We'd had pronunciation issues with Haut pretty much since its inception, and we kept saying that we were going to change it, make it something better, but ultimately we never found the time and prioritized it high enough to actually do it. But the day that we went to submit this, I just wasn't comfortable with launching the app with a name that nobody could pronounce, especially given how much we rely on word of mouth and people actually talking about us. So after numerous social media polls and beta community polls, I think I actually made a video about this, so check it out if you haven't already. We made the decision to rebrand from Haut to Clear. And we launched Clear publicly on the 7th of June 2021. After just 2 months of coding, we secured our first influencer partnership with The Dose of Glamour, and one of my YouTube videos actually got picked up and gave us a little bit of press, which actually helped with the launch and with that initial traction. I also started doing some due diligence with the various banking as a service providers and existing neobanks, just to understand if this was a model that could work for us, and if so, what assumptions we could actually start testing. July 2021, we partnered with an even bigger Instagram influencer. She had 1 million followers, and we also launched our Skinfluencer Challenge, which was an incentive scheme for micro-influencers in the skincare space to really kickstart their careers as as a skinfluencer. We partnered with Imperial College's Dermatology Society, and we also brought on 30 interns to help us on social media marketing, tech, and business development. Check out my last video where I talk more about that experience. We hired a back-end software engineer, Rui, who's based in Canada, and it was initially on a 2-month contract to actually help us launch our debit card so that we could start testing assumptions. Oh, and I also turned 22 in July. August 2021. We launched the debit card in a closed 10-person pilot to some of our users in the US. I started to prepare for fundraising by putting together pitch decks and due diligence materials, and I actually also started taking a couple of pre-demo day investor meetings. I continued to promote the various incentive schemes that we had at the time, and we were also focused on building in more viral loops into the product itself so that we could really maintain our high growth going into the fundraising period. September 2021, YC Demo Day happened. This is also when fundraising kicked off, and this was also the month that we got featured in Sifted, which was a really big deal for us. October 2021, more fundraising. We also analysed our data and our user metrics over the last quarter to see what product changes we needed to make in order to, again, sustain that high growth and improve retention on the app itself. We also extended Rui's contract beyond the 2 months that we initially agreed, as we loved working with him, and he also expressed that he wanted to be a more long-term part of the team. So that was a really big win for us. Some personal updates were also that in this time I moved to Oxford and I was able to have a university graduation ceremony. So even though I dropped out, I did end up graduating with a bachelor's because I had fulfilled the requirements with that. I was meant to graduate with a master's degree, but hey, at least I got something. November 2021. Even more fundraising, still. While this was going on, we also officially brought Monica, the UX designer, onto the team, as well as Ryan, who was one of the interns that we had over the summer. We partnered with London Strategic Consulting and developed the marketing strategy for Q1 2022. At the end of November, I also finally closed out our pre-seed round on a little over 800k. I made a video about the fundraising process, and in truth, it was one of the hardest times I've had to go through while running the startup. But ultimately, it was a great result, and we had enough capital to hit our next stage of goals and continue our growth. December 2021. Well, after a pretty intense year, as soon as I finished fundraising, I came down with the worst possible cold. So that knocked me out for about a week. Thankfully, it wasn't COVID, but I did have to take the first week of December off. We also made another tech hire. We needed another full stack developer to help speed things up, as we wanted to increase the frequency of our product releases and hence needed more capacity on the tech team. We found an absolute superstar candidate who will be joining us on the 27th of January. So definitely stay tuned for a future update in which I'll be able to talk more about the new guy on the team. In December, I also finalized the marketing plan for Q1 of this year, including the content calendar and the live series we'd be doing and more giveaways that were coming up. And I did more business development work to increase our product inventory on the Clear app itself, to get more products to distribute within our Skinfluencer network, and also to start building the relationships for our data monetization down the road. For me, January is going to be all about executing on this social media marketing strategy. So please go follow me on TikTok at GetClearApp. It's also linked down in the description box below, as well as follow me on Twitter at AhanaBanana. I'm pretty active. I'm also still working on the brand partnerships, building up those relationships, and the tech team is working away also to execute on our product roadmap. So that's it. The year in review. This time last year, I had absolutely no idea what was in store for me, but it truly has been a year filled with so much learning and so many ups and downs. You know, it's not always an easy experience, but it's safe to say that I've learned more than I ever imagined that I could, and I'm really, really excited for the year ahead with Clear. And that's where I'm gonna leave this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and my channel by watching these videos. It really does mean a lot. If you enjoyed this video and wanna see more content just like this, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Alright, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.